Hello, everybody, and thank you all for joining us again here today on Haskins County for another episode of our actual play of To Swear on Your Honor by Peach Garden Games. This is our series, To Serve is to Live. It's been a little while since our last episode, so just to refresh everybody's memory, we are going to be playing the knight Eiken de Groot. This individual has some sort of unusual curse or blessing, or however you want to interpret it, on them, where they have been rendered. It's essentially like a Dorian Gray situation where they do not physically age or become physically harmed for some reason, and they have sworn a liege bond, a oath of fealty to their lord, who is currently Prince Gathello, sort of like the head prince of like a group of princes, a council of princes, essentially. In our last session, there was a person who was running around desecrating the Grand Temple by like poisoning like the water that people have to use to cleanse themselves when they go to the temple. So lots of people were getting sick or dying. So we attempted to figure that out, and we found out that there was this famous duelist who we fought against, René de Leon, that we had to defeat, who was involved in that. We captured them. We don't know why this person was trying to get into the temple, because they were using the poisoner as basically like a distraction. But we successfully captured them, figured out what was going on, and they're currently in the prison of our liege, at least as of the beginning of the end of the last round. So we are going, and we gained 2 points of experience, which we noted on our sheet over here. Alrighty, so for those of you who are just joining us for the first time at home, the first thing we need to do is we need to roll a d6 to determine like the sort of geography, the sort of type of peril table we're going to be rolling on to figure out what our daring do we're going to be doing today is. And we rolled a 4, so we are going to be going to the grasslands. Our last one was an urban one. Okay, and then now we're going to need to do is we're going to need to roll a d20 twice to determine exactly what type of peril we're facing, what's the cause of the peril, and what's the exact problem this peril is causing. And then that'll also help us figure out what the base difficulty is. I rolled a 15, so we are going to be facing off against wolves, which has a base difficulty of 1, so that's good. And then a 5, the wolves have been destroying the mills. Okay. So again, this is a difficulty 1. We are not going to need to, so that means we just need to successfully pass 1 check in order to, beat this peril. The wolves have sorry, I'm looking down because I'm looking at my own version of the book here, but the wolves have a base difficulty of 1 and they resist cunning. So if we try to use cunning against them, it's not going to work so well. So I'll note that down real quick. All right, I've been thinking about this for a second, and I'm thinking what probably is happening is that the wolves aren't actually destroying the mills, obviously. Because, you got big pill. Yeah, anyway. But rather, what I'm thinking is probably happening is that the wolves are actually, like, attacking, people who are coming and going, basically people traveling on the roads to take their stuff to their mills. So basically, like, maybe there's a village, and wolves have been attacking people on the road that go between the actual like village where they're harvesting the grain and stuff to take it over to the mill, and then from taking it for the mill to wherever it's getting used or sold or whatever. That certainly seems to make a bit more sense to me. Another thing that we might want to consider is what's really at stake here, and how does news reach us? I'm thinking that again, as I mentioned earlier, our prince is basically kind of like a a first amongst equals. So maybe this is a situation where these attacks have been happening at maybe the land of one of the prince's neighbors. And this is a really weird thing to be happening. So there's like accusations going up against our lord that like maybe they've maybe these aren't actual, wolf attacks. Maybe these are staged. And so if we don't try to figure out what's going on and what's really what's really causing the problem, that there might be basically our lord might get in trouble. So we need to kind of go and try to solve the problem because of the accusations that are flying around that, these aren't actually wolves. These are like, bandits or something, and they're trying to cause problems for people. So I'll just go ahead and note that down real quick. So yeah, as I just mentioned, and as I noted here, basically a lord who is a neighbor to our prince comes to court. They're accusing our lord or people working for the prince on like staging these attacks on people and then, making it look like it was wolves. Like maybe there's a bunch of, maybe they're like using dogs or something and attacking people. Again, this is really unusual behavior. So we're sent to investigate to try to figure out exactly what's going on. I think probably the best way to attempt to face this peril would just be to probably utilize our gallantry. We're basically just going to get on. We're just going to get in there and see what's going on. So again, for those of you playing along at home, just as a reminder, we're going to be rolling D6s. Since we have a gallantry of 2, we're going to be rolling 2 dice, and if either of them show a 5 or a 6, we succeed, and both of them showed 6s. So 6 plus 6, success. Alrighty. So basically, we go. I'm going to say based on the fact that we use gallantry is basically, the next time somebody's going over to the mill, we just hop on a wagon and ride along, and I'm going to say that their suspicions were correct in that the Lord's suspicions were correct in that it was not actually wolves, but it wasn't anybody who had anything to do with our prince. It was just probably some bandits who are, some outlaws or whoever who were just trying to get the grain because they were hungry, especially since I'm going to say they were probably attacking after the mill, after the flour was milled. So they were stealing the flour so that they could use it for themselves. So that would be our peril for this time. Very simple, very basic, not a whole lot going on this time. So instead we move on to the intrigue. All right. Now that should not say that. Last time we had an intrigue in the capital. We need to roll to figure out where it will be. So we have 2 different options. The intrigue could be in the capital of our kingdom, or it could be in another kingdom nearby. So we just need to roll any dice, and it's just evens and odds. This time we do have another intrigue in the capital. So if you'll just give me a moment, we'll go ahead and roll and figure out what that one is today. Just as a reminder, the difficulty of intrigues goes up as you fail to defeat them in previous rounds. So we did defeat the last one because we defeated our duelist who was trying to sneak into the restricted areas of the Grand Temple last time. So this time our difficulty is going to be 1, and we are going to be dealing with a foreign ambassador who is defiling an ancient barrier. Wow, this is that's the exact same problem we had last time. Actually, I have a good idea. And this isn't going to be a good idea for this one would be that it's not, the foreign ambassador is not trying to get into the temple. Instead, I think what the foreign ambassador is doing is that they're trying to convince the prince to let René de Leon go. So this is connecting to what happened last time. As I might have alluded to earlier, for those of you who didn't watch the last episode, René de Leon was that duelist, that famous duelist that we defeated, who was trying to break into a restricted section of the temple. We're not sure why, and was using the poisoner as a distraction. So maybe this is a foreign ambassador who's coming to try to get René de Leon released. So yeah, we have the ambassador from Golen. Her name is, I'm thinking Nicolette Collante, is trying to get René de Leon released from prison. So how are we going to face this problem? Let's see. I'm thinking cunning. We're going to try to figure out exactly why. Yeah, I think we're going to try to convince our prince that releasing René de Leon is a bad idea by using our cunning to find evidence as to why Nicolette exactly wants to get the guy released. All right, I rolled a 1 and a 5, so we fortunately do succeed. I'm going to say that we managed to find some evidence suggesting that Nicolette wants to free René so that René can inform whoever both Nicolette and René are working for about what they managed to discover about the temple. And I'm going to think that probably the fallout of that is that René remains in prison and Nicolette is forced to leave the capital. So now it's time for us to kind of calculate out exactly how much experience we would have gained and stuff like that. So we gain 1 point of experience for each point of difficulty we experienced in the peril. Yeah, so we gain 1 point of experience for each point we gained in the peril. So that means we go from 2 points to 3 points. And then we also gained 1 point in our inspiring track for gallantry, the positive track for gallantry. For succeeding that check, and then 1 more for masterful for succeeding in that check. So we're well on our way of potentially, again, if any of these reach 10, then that means the game's over. So we've got a good ways to go, but we're well on our way of potentially succeeding at one of those two, hopefully in the future. So thank you all again for joining us here today on our playthrough of To Swear on Your Honor. And we'll see exactly what Eiken de Groot gets up to next time. Thank you, and take care. Have a good zone. If you would like to show your support for this channel, or for the Hessens County blog, in the description down below, you will find links to the channel coffee, and also the itch store. Please feel free to take a look, and thank you for your support.